welcome to the Krueg Show. Friday night, hot night in Walnut Creek. Wow, warm night. Larry Krueger, Ryan Smith, maybe Dan Coccimilgio. I'm not really sure if Danny's going to join us or not. He's got the invite. He was working earlier today, doing a little post-game. Giants and Cubbies at Wrigley. Big weekend in Chicago for the San Francisco fans, Giants fans, Niners fans, all descending upon Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, the city with broad shoulders, where the Giants take on the Cubbies at Wrigley over the weekend. And maybe more importantly, definitely more importantly, the 49ers open this season at Soldier Field Sunday, 10 a.m. Broadcast time on the West Coast, and 12 noon broadcast time in the Central Time Zone. If you're there in Chicago, noon, straight up noon in Chicago on Sunday. The Niners and the Bears, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and something's got to give. And all right, Ryan, good to see you, man. How are you?
Oh man, this heat is killing me. It's not even the heat. Okay, the heat is one thing. Our air conditioning's broken. I now am in a battle with the HOA. It's an absolute standoff, and I have to go to an HOA meeting in order to get any answers. And it's gonna be hilarious. Maybe I'll film it too. I'm just gonna be full blown Karen because it's 87 degrees when I got back from practice, and poor Ringo's just. He's going to die or something.
Oh,
and then
it's too hot.
It's affecting my internet too. So that's why we're running late is I switched onto a local hotspot I found, like an Xfinity hotspot. So hopefully it holds up. But because my normal internet, you could barely share a thing.
Yeah, it's cooling off outside, thankfully. Romo 2001 says, evening, guys. Good seeing you guys live. Feels like it's been forever. I know. Sorry to the people in the sorry to all of our Krueg Show regulars. We have not been doing the live streams as much this week, partly because we've been so busy doing 49er stuff, but also partly just because of the heat wave. I mean, my studio is in my garage. And my garage is like Qatar, it's
fully
like
carpeted too.
Oh my God. But man, the garage is like, I'm barely stomaching it right now. So, I mean, I'm just sweating like a dog out in the garage. So, I mean, the dead heat of the winter or dead heat of the summer, I should say, it's just been hellish. Let me double check the weather.
Oh, there's Dan Coccimilgio. I can help you on the HOA, Ryan. I'm an expert on the HOA board meetings, LOL. By expert, I think he means that he takes his shirt off.
So it says it's 77 degrees right now in Walnut Creek. It was a high of 104 earlier today. Tomorrow, the high is supposedly 82. Sunday, the high is 90. Monday, the high is 84, and then back to the 70s. So... we're going to get some help. We're going to get some relief from this. But yeah, it has been a rough week for being in the garage and doing these live streams. So we haven't done as many of them as we wanted to. We've taken a few days off. We've been immersed in Niner stuff. But tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the Niners and the Bears, a little bit about the matchup on Sunday that kicks off the season. And we're going to bring to you a lot of the video and audio that we got this week in the locker room. There's some great stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Surprising amount of great stuff, actually. That was my first time in an NFL locker room, and man, the guys are all really cool. They seem really kind of down to earth, and so you get the vibe, or at least I get the vibe that if you do them well, like you don't just try and screw them over. If you do well by them, they'll help you out. They get it. So I mean, it was awesome. It was just an awesome week. A lot of work, but it was awesome.
We should tell people we are covering the 49ers this year for TalkSport and TalkSport 2 out of London, and also for the Gridiron podcast, which we put out our first edition of the podcast. Tell people, Rye, where they can scoop up the podcast, where they can check it out.
So the podcast, I think eventually we're going to have our own feed, but right now it's just on the Gridiron football feed. If you search Gridiron UK, if you search Gridiron UK, you'll see there's a thing called Gridiron Magazine. if you just scroll around there, you'll be able to find a link to the podcast, or you can follow Gridiron at Gridiron on Twitter. I know they put it out. And, it should be available on Spotify, Apple, all the main things. There's a little bit of maybe a concern. We got a message saying somebody couldn't find it, but going forward, I'm not quite sure about this week, so I didn't upload it, but going forward, it'll be on all platforms. And it's good. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Danny says cooler on the coast, much warmer inland. Yeah, it's warmer inland, cooler on the coast. Totes my goats. Heat wave plus the Giants equals no live stream. The Giants win today. No. Did they win today? I don't think so, right?
No.
I didn't watch Giants Cubs.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there was definitely moments where I missed being in the chat. Maybe we could have had a heated argument about whether David VR was a part of the future after he hit those 2 home runs, or what's the name of the center fielder they got that's just been
Lou Brinson.
Lou Brinson, 6'5", like absolute freak show in center, and kind of gave me Bart vibes. Not in that, apparently, like reading all the reports on him, it's like he kind of gets in his head. He strikes out way too much, but he's got just so much raw potential. I don't know. Get Will Clark with that guy. And like Dan and I were saying on the live stream we did, we want freaks. We want something that's entertaining. I say bring up Jelly, keep Brinson in center. Let's just have a wacky team full of just people with extreme attributes. Even if they're just great at one thing, I want extreme players.
Well, yesterday the Giants had a doubleheader, got 7 hits. Today they wound up with 3. Good news for Guru. He bet Rodon over 7 strikeouts, and Rodon struck out 11 today. So good for Goo. I was on with him earlier today on 95.7 The Game. I'll be on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. with Lorenzo Neal on 95.7 The Game as we bring to you 49er pregame on 95.7 The Game. We'll also be on Talk Sports pregame build-up show from London on Sunday, which we will be taping tomorrow. And then we'll even be on postgame on 49er football from, on Talk Sport in London. And then late night after, or I should say not late night, but later after, be middle of the day, late afternoon on Sunday, we'll go live stream for 49ers Bears postgame after our brief postgame in London after Niners and Bears. So we got a lot coming up on the channel, cooler temperatures coming up, and we hope to see a lot more of our friends in the chat as we go. And we should say just some of the people in the house tonight. MF, who's in Chicago, he says, is Tim Ryan coming on? He is, MF. Give it some time. We'll have him. Val Ramos says, it's going down tonight. Yes, it is. Carlo P says, MF, how's Chicago? Eric Hernandez is is one of our members as well. He says, good interview with Brock Purdy. Can't wait to watch the rest. Brock Purdy was really, really good, though I kind of sucked up to him shamelessly. Mario says, Dan, talking about Dan Coccimilgio. So anyway, we've got a bunch of regulars in the house. We've got 61 people in the chat to start. One of the things that I want to do before we get rolling on the chat is and before we get rolling on the the video and playing some of the videos that we're going to play you, we want to tell you that we have a brand new sponsor, and it is our good friends at MyBookie. And we should tell you, while the coming up in week 2 of the NFL, the Chargers and the Chiefs will prepare for battle in the AFC West on Thursday night of next week for week 2. You can prepare for your winning season right now at MyBookie.com. Some like to bet to earn money. Some people bet to make the season more exciting for themselves. Either way, MyBookie.com gives you the most for your money with a double deposit bonus. It's quick. It's easy. Here's an example. If you have $250 and you deposit it, they put $500 in your account instantly, and you can use that money to bet on as many games, contests, or props as you want. So to claim your bonus, all you got to do is register today at MyBookie.com. Use the promo code Larry K. Designed designed to add more excitement to the games and, of course, the sports that you love. So once again, the promo code is Larry K to double your money up to $1,000 with mybookie.com. It's only week 1 of the NFL season, which means there's still plenty of time to get in on the action. Don't miss out. To begin your winning season today, exclusively at mybookie.com, just go to mybookie.com and use that promo code Larry K, and you will double your initial investment right up to $1,000. So once again, Larry K at mybookie.com. Make sure you type in Larry K inside the promo code. All right. So where do you want to start video wise and interview wise? Who do you want to start with, Ryan?
Well, okay. I wanted to start with this. So just as a preface, so, we're still kind of figuring out what, like we've got a lot of different things going on. We're working for Gridiron, we're working for TalkSport, we're working for the Niners, sort of, we got the YouTube channel, and we just tried to get as much content as possible this week, and it's kind of oozing out of our ears. I am pretty intimidated by the amount of like editing and swapping out audio and all of that kind of stuff. So, but the great news is all of this extra stuff is not going to go to waste. It's going to go right to the YouTube channel. And honestly, I'd love to hear the feedback of like, what do you guys want to hear? Like, what kind of questions do you want asked? And also, don't judge me too harshly. This is my first time interviewing players, and I was like holding the camera and stuff. So
Ryan did have some lengthy questions, but we'll trim them down. We'll trim those questions down over time. Everybody gets going with long questions. Paul Pearman says, "Krueg, where's your signed frame Purdy jersey?" Seriously,
with Purdy.
I'm a Purdy head. Yeah, let's start with Brock. I enjoyed our conversation with him. Let's hear a little bit from Brock Purdy. Caught up to him in the corner of the locker room. He's one thing I like about Brock. He's in that corner right by all the offensive linemen. You know what I mean? If you really, you always check out where everybody is in the locker room, and the quarterback that's locker is near the O lineman. That's always a good sign. Always a good sign. And here we go. Here's a little Brock Purdy from earlier this week on the Krueg Show.
Locker room with Niner quarterback Brock Purdy, and man, it's been a great summer for you. How do you?
I will say one last thing. If there's a weird angle, you're like, oh, what the hell, Ryan? Like, why are you, framing up and to the right of their heads? It's a locker room. There's changing going on, and I'm just trying to protect the players the best I can. All right.
Feel like things went?
Yeah, it was solid. Continue just to learn the playbook and all that kind of thing, and mesh with the guys and all that. But I think overall, man, it was pretty good going out, making plays, and showing that I could, lead an offense down the field and manage the offense and all that kind of stuff. So it's been good, but definitely have a lot more room to grow. So.
Yeah, it's a good room. I mean, you seem like obviously Jimmy and Trey and yourself might be the best quarterback room in the league. How do you feel about the dynamics in the room?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Obviously, having Jimmy back and being able to learn from his experiences and everything. And, he's a guy that took this team to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And so, I mean, he's definitely got a lot of knowledge and IQ and experience in this offense. And then obviously Trey and, his athletic ability, his arm strength, and him being a leader and coming on and leading all these guys, man. It's been cool to see both of those guys in the same room and just being able to learn from both of them. And then obviously, how young I am and just trying to learn from both of them and grow myself. But, we push each other, we compete. But at the end of the day, man, we want the best for this team and we want to win. So it's been cool.
Is there somebody you pattern your game after? I know you've played a lot of football, but is there anybody that, as a little kid, maybe you said, man, I really love the way that guy plays? Or maybe in high school, somebody that you looked at as a pro and said, man, I'd like to pattern my game after him.
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of Drew Brees, just because I could relate to him with the height thing. Not being a big guy or anything, but still being a competitor, ripping the ball downfield, managing the offense, and then a little bit of like a Russell Wilson, being able to move and being a little crafty, with his game. So I think a mix of those guys, growing up, really in high school and then in college, diving into their film and trying to learn from them and what they did good, what they didn't do well, and all that kind of stuff. So those are two guys I definitely watched.
One thing I noticed in practice is that in the short game and all that, your footwork is really, really precise. There are not a lot of wasted steps. And does that come from having played for 4 years at Iowa State? I mean, you just seem like, watching the camera, watching your eyes, watching you survey the field, that the moment's not too big, and some of the nuances of the position that a lot of rookies don't have down, you appear to have down.
Yeah, I think, just the 4 years of experience at Iowa State, being a starter, leading an offense, being in a lot of high-pressure situations and a lot of high-pressure games, being able to learn from those moments, stay calm, stay poised, have the right footwork, be accurate in times of duress. So I think all those things added up, and have helped me to play at this level. Obviously, it was preseason and everything, so we didn't see a whole lot of crazy things from the defenses, but I think I had a base coming in, and relying on what I've experienced the past couple years. And so just not being a rookie where I get out here and things are going fast, but, man, it's football. It's at a higher level, but I've been here before. I've experienced these kind of things, and I just got to apply it, on a day-to-day basis.
What was draft weekend like for you? Because, I know you got drafted and the Mr. Irrelevant thing. It's like funny, but, you're a prideful guy, and you had a lot of success. you have 32 school records at Iowa State. You played in a big conference. You played well. So was that kind of an embarrassing moment, or was that, I know your family were really fired up. Obviously, great organization, so it's a good spot for you, but I almost feeling like if I were you, I don't know that I would feel. I think you probably deserve to be picked well before that. How did you feel about it on draft weekend?
Yeah, honestly, I was excited just to have an opportunity to hear my name get called and go to an organization in the NFL. So I was very thankful. And also, being the last pick, there was a chip, on my shoulder from that moment on. And really, my whole life, my story, being recruited late in high school, being the last one assigned to my class to college. And so I've always had to go out and prove myself. And so I've always known that. And honestly, just added more fuel to the fire. It's part of my story. I'm embracing it. But just because I was the last pick, I wasn't going to be that kind of guy who just caves in and throws the towel in and, listen to people saying I'm not going to make it. Like, I've always believed in myself. I've had a great supporting cast from my family and friends, and I've just wanted to go out and prove myself right, So it's really been, I think, part of my story, and it'll be cool to see what happens down the road.
Following up on that, honestly, I know he said embarrassing, whatever. It's the Mr. Irrelevant pick. For me personally, the true Mr. Irrelevant is the guy who gets picked second to last, because I feel like everyone, every time you're on the field, if it's, whoever's in the announcing booth, they all talk about, oh, Mr. Irrelevant, oh, last pick. So in a way, is that kind of, you were talking about the story, I think we all, make up the stories of our lives in our heads. Is that part of it for you that's kind of okay, that's actually kind of cool. Now I have a chance to prove myself. I just made the freaking Niners, part of the best quarterback room. So yeah. I don't even know if that's a question, but
yeah, no, honestly, like I said, man, I think my whole life I've always looked at it people have always doubted me. Like I said again, in high school I wasn't recruited for Power 5 schools until at the very end, and even then I got there, and then I ended up becoming the starter. I got my shot, and honestly, I felt the same way. With the draft towards the end, I was the last pick. People are overlooking me. All these teams draft all these other quarterbacks, but I still get my shot, and it's what I do with it, And so I guess, yeah, people can make up stories in their head, but I think it helps them, man, sometimes, And so for me, I've sort of looked at it like that, and it's, like I said, just add more fuel to the fire. I just want to go out and sort of show the world, okay, you overlooked me, let's go, But also I'm a huge competitor, so any kind of thing I can grab onto and make up, to give me that competitive edge, I'll do. So, we'll see what happens at the end of all this, but it's pretty cool.
I want to pat myself on the back because I feel like I saw the vision of Brock Purdy watching you in college, and I used to scout with the Cardinals, and I tweeted out, that I thought it was a great pick by the Niners, and I think your sister Courtney, maybe, or Whitney. Yeah. It was on Twitter. She's she liked it and followed me, and I thought, that's cool, and I'm coming from kind of a big family as well. Does your family wear your chip on because it's almost like they're part of your story. They're part of your trek, you know. Do you get that feeling that it's not just your chip, it's almost theirs too?
Yeah, 100%. You know, they're obviously my biggest supporters in my life, and so they believe that, you know, I can go out and do the best job, you know, out of anybody in the world. And so I've always appreciated their support and everything. And so, but honestly, like at times, you know, when I've, you know, sort of doubted myself in the past, they're the ones that, you know, they're one of the first people to tell me, like, dude, you've done this, you've done that. So they've reminded me of the great things that I've done and through the Lord's will and everything. So definitely having them in my corner, man, I'm thankful for them. And I think they wear that chip as well. Like, you know, they see the story, they see the things that can come from it, you know, being the last draft pick and all that. But I think, I don't know, man, at the end of the day, they wear the battle scars with me. They do they go through everything with me. So they have the chip as well, most definitely.
Maybe fewer head first slides and more feet first slides coming up in the games ahead. I saw you going head first in one of those games. I mean, I liked it because it was like all in. We're getting this first down, you know, any way it goes down. But it's the NFL. I'd hate to see anything bad happen. And had you guys talk about that at all? Going head first as opposed to, you know, getting down.
Yeah. You know, obviously being a quarterback, it's like a very crucial position, and so just being safe, you know, going feet first, taking what you can get when you're using your legs, get down. But for me, man, it's like when I see some space and I can get, you know, a couple extra yards, like, you know, I'm going to try to get it. But, you know, being at this level, especially during the regular season, I know the bullets are going to be flying with those linebackers and DBs and everybody. So definitely got to be smart. And, you know, Trey slid in a preseason game, so
right.
I gotta learn, man. But still got the college competitiveness in me where I think I can get every single yard, but I'll learn fast.
I feel like maybe the coaches would say something about that, but did that fire up the boys in the huddle?
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, awesome.
All the linemen, man. If you're a quarterback, you can take a hit or put your shoulder down. It fires people up, but you just got to be smart, man. It's a long game and a long season, so.
Hey, last one I got for you. You're in a unique room because this Jimmy's a veteran, you're a rookie, but you're an experienced rookie. Trey's a rookie. Trey's a really inexperienced rookie. When you guys are watching film, do you feel like, you know, as a guy who's played a lot of football, that you can do more than your average rookie as far as the nuances that you see on film, recognizing coverages, knowing what to do pre-snap? Do you feel like you're a little bit more schooled in it because you did make all those starts at Iowa State?
Yeah, I think, you know, I do bring that to the table. Obviously, with my experiences, the way I learned, you know, from the coaches at Iowa State, it's a little different, you know, compared to what I'm being taught here and everything. But, you know, being on the sideline, looking for certain things that I would want to hear as a starter, you know, when Trey comes off the field, I can be there for him and tell him, hey, this is what I'm seeing or whatever. So if he wants to hear that, great. If not, I totally get it. But, you know, in the film room and everything, too, like I have my job of, you know, being the rookie quarterback, like having every little thing handled, you know, in terms of what they don't have time for, you know. So
donuts? That means donuts or no?
All the little things like that. But I mean, outside of that too, just being there for him, man, and being there and supporting him and telling him like, you're doing a good job, or hey man, like we can be better here. And he listens to me. That's how awesome Trey is. So we all want to, like I said before, win. We want to compete. And so I think I bring that to the table as well.
We're believers in you, man. Good luck this year. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much. I'll hit you with the elbow.
There we go, a little Brock Purdy, and we have our first donation here from Pizza Diaper, donates $1.99. Pump for your YouTube channel, Larry. Let's go. Yeah, that was probably my biggest fanboy interview right there with Brock Purdy, just because I am super excited for that kid's future, and I feel like he's an NFL player. I mean, I think he's going to be big. And I know a lot of people sit there and go, come on, Nick Mullins. He ain't Nick Mullins. He ain't Nick Mullins. He's a whole lot better than Nick Mullins. So, but yeah, I think we'll talk to him a number of times this year. Really interesting guy, very competitive. He wears that chip. His family wears that chip on their shoulder. And you think about it, right? I was thinking about it when we were driving home. This guy was the best player in his high school. He was an all-state player in Arizona. Then goes to college. Was a 4-year starter, 32 school records, total dominant player in college, one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in the draft. And he doesn't, it's like if you were the most accomplished quarterback in your draft class or among them, you'd be like, maybe I'll go second round, maybe I'll go third round, if you didn't have the measurables. He didn't have the measurables quite, and he wound up the last pick of the draft. And then to watch him beat out Sudfeld this summer, there was nothing accidental about any of that. I think the 49ers have 3 quarterbacks they can win with. I don't think people realize that yet. Hopefully they won't find out this year, but I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go as far to say they have the best quarterback room, but I think they have the deepest.
Yeah, deepest. Definitely the deepest.
There's no better.
I think I'd rather have Josh Allen in my quarterback room than what they have, I guess, after watching him last night. But the deepest room, they got a very deep quarterback room.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing some people think that it was great. Somebody said maybe it was a little long. We're just doing what we can do. And also everybody that, it says Ryan, you look nervous. I was nervous, and it's really not just even the players. Cause when I was at the Adam Carolla show, I was like, talking and being comfortable with comedians and Jay Leno and, Jeremy Piven or whoever. And it was totally cool. And I got used to that. However, this is like, you get like 25 minutes in the locker room. I've got the audio equipment. I've got the camera. I've got all this stuff. And if any of it screws up or I don't get a shot, it's like all for waste. So that also plays a big part. And I'm there's a lot of things going into my mind, and I'll definitely be more prepared next week. Let's not
judge Rye too hard. This was his first time in the room. Val Ramos, $2. Great job, guys. Raphael 562 Niners donates $2. Appreciate the interview, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys, and that's why we're bringing you this stuff. So that was one of my favorites. What are we going with the second interview? What do we have?
Mckivitz.
Okay. Caught up with Colton Mckivitz, and he was sitting on a chair in the middle of the locker room. And it's funny. Trent Williams says, man, this guy's tough. This guy's not worried about who he's blocking. He's not worried about if it's Aaron Donald or it's this guy, it's that guy. He looks at everybody as a number, and he's just kind of a good old boy from West Virginia, and his dad made those hats that look like Daniel Boone hats out of real raccoons. And it's basically a coon hat, a raccoon hat. And it's got this Daniel Boone looking thing, and his dad wore it to football games at West Virginia. And I think he was asked about it. I asked him about it a lot right after the draft. So we walked up to him. We started talking right about the raccoon hats in our conversation. Here's a little Colton Mckivitz.
Ready? Yep. All right. Hi.
Oh, that also, okay, so not all of these are completely edited. So like this one, you're going to hear at the beginning, we're asking him to do a hitter for Talk Sports. Like, hey, I'm Colton Mckivitz, offensive lineman for the Niners. You're listening to Talk Sport. And then also some of these, I think this one, the audio, majority of these, the audio has not been the great audio is not on it. So it might be a little low, might be a little inconsistent, but this is the best we got for now.
I'm Colton Mckivitz for the San Francisco 49ers. Listen to the 49ers live on Talk Sport 2 this Sunday. The UK radio home of the Niners.
Perfect, dude. You nailed it. I had it scribbled out on like a pad. It was just chaos.
Can we do a couple minutes with you for pregame?
Sure.
All right. We're here in the Niner locker room. Colton Mckivitz with us, Niner offensive lineman. And before we get rolling, I love the hats your dad made on. Those are pretty sweet. Now, how long has he been making those? How would you describe that hat?
His character. That's something he's enjoyed ever since I got down to Morgantown. He's always been in taxidermy. That's something he's always done as a kid. And then going to West Virginia with the Mountaineers, the mascot, he's always worn a coonskin cap. So he was like, I'll make one, have his own for the stands, and then even got even crazier. He'd put a face on it and stuff. So fans around him really loved it. Sold a couple, so he was really having fun with it.
Trent Williams a couple of weeks ago at the podium and after practice actually said that he admired you. He said that you see these guys, your opponent, as like nameless, faceless, as numbers, and you're not out there. You're not in any way wowed by the moment or taken by the moment.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty big words coming from him. He's been kind enough to share some words of wisdom with me and then help me get through that game in week 18 against the Rams, and it's just kind of been the thing ever since college, getting thrown in the fire, and then went through some adversity last year with being on the practice squad, and then just working the whole year, assuming that I was going to play sometime and approached it that way every week. And, eventually it came, and, I was able to fill in and help us get into the playoffs.
You're versatile. You play a lot of spots. Where are you most comfortable on the line if you had to pick a spot?
There's always an old adage that, the more you play, the less they pay. I kind of got that one down pretty good. It honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter. I mean, out there doing snaps and, started at guard, and in college started 4 years at right tackle and then moved to left. And then, I'd say left's probably more comfortable, but, I've got a little bit of everything so far.
How's your Mountaineers looking this year, by the way?
Pretty good, man. I thought they were going to pull it out in the backyard brawl. I thought they had it. They got a nice first night game in 3 years against Kansas. So apparently Kansas is a lot better this year. So I'm excited to get to watch them. But I think they got a best team Neil Brown's had.
What do you think of the line? I know you got Trent at left tackle. Obviously, he's as good as it gets. There's some young players on this line this year, but a lot of talented players in the room. How would you say the line's come together in the 3 preseason games?
Yeah, the vets have taken over. Obviously Trent, not going to play in the preseason games, but him and Mike's presence of being the vets in the room, and Jake's kind of taking over that center role of being the voice of the line and making points and making sure we're all on the same page. So, Banks is starting to come along, and also with Spencer being a rookie. Some guys come in with the deer in the headlights look, and you don't see that with Spence. Spence is athletic, long. As long as he stays consistent with his hands and playing as hard as he does, I think we're going to be great.
The process of pro football, there's a lot of different things you guys do throughout the week to get prepared. What's essential for you? What do you have to prepare for an opponent? Is it the film work? Is it the field work? Is it technique? Is it studying the personnel? What do you need to do to get ready for Sunday?
I think it's all those things, but most importantly for us as O-line, I think we do a good job of the scouting reports on guys and how we feel we can attack guys. I think that was the biggest part of last season with, we had a solid group of guys who knew how to scout guys and what techniques to use on different, how to approach guys in pass pro and in the run game and what to look for and our different techniques we use on those guys. And then also, today's a big practice for us, being physical in the run game and having the pads on. So, we'll see how the scouting reports go, but I think today was a really good practice.
What do the Bears look like on film to you? I know you study it without giving anything away. You don't want to give away any trade secrets, but what do you see from their line when you watch them?
They're big, physical. Good thing Hicks isn't in there anymore. I think we're a little happy about that. But Robert Quinn, he's a beast on the edge. Plays long, plays physical, good with his hands. Same thing on the right side. So I think we'll have our hands full, but I think it'd be a good week to use our techniques and fundamentals.
Hey, last one. You played a full college career. Now you've been in the NFL for a few years. How's the preparation different? I know they say it's way more intricate at the pro level. Obviously, you guys are spending more time on the game plans. But how would you compare like a week of prep in college for a Saturday game as opposed to what you guys are going through right now?
Intricate would be a good way of putting it. I think it's a lot more. College is the game plans aren't as big for the teams, especially in the Big 12. We didn't have the most intricate or crazy game plan. So, we get, our first, second down on Wednesday and then third down and goal line, Thursday. And then we go through it on Friday, and you better have it down because it's kind of the same playbook, but then there's also the intricate little details that we change up for a defense and scheme and that kind of thing. So, it's a lot more in-depth than college. I
know you're a West Virginia guy. We'll let you go with this one. You ever hunt bear? You ever hunt a bear in the being in West Virginia?
No, not yet. That's been a couple buddies go up to Maine and hunt there. One of my close buddies who I played with, he runs dogs with bears. So, one day I want to go to Alaska or Canada or wherever, or West Virginia, get on a black bear down there. It would be very cool.
Good luck Sunday.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Colton, I'm sorry. I got one last silly question because we're trying to think of funny stuff like related to the Chicago Bears, different things. He just asked you if you've ever hunted a bear. Okay, this is a really stupid one,
right.
So get ready. I just thought this one up in the car. Okay, it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, I'm setting the scene. It's the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
You're on the 1 yard line. You're on the left side. Trent's at left tackle. You're going to run out, outside zone. Mitchell's in the backfield. You got to punch it in. You have 1 second left on the clock. You have to get it in.
Yeah.
On the other side of you and Trent, is an actual grizzly bear. Okay, now it's declawed. It's declawed.
All right.
Okay, and then this is what the last caveat. There is a piece of salmon taped to the football. So the bear is hungry for the football. He wants the football. Do you think you can punch it in?
Oh, yeah. We got a silverback over there on the left side, so I'm taking my odds with that man.
All right, excellent. Thanks so
Good
much,
luck
Colton.
Sunday.
Yep, thank you.
Colton Mckivitz, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cringe.
There you go. What do we have? This is what pizza diaper. Let's see. Pizza diaper donates $1.90. He says, "You're good, Ryan. Keep up the good work, brother." Bold predictions from Evelina. 49ers Bills Super Bowl come back here February. I got the same Super Bowl. I got Niners over Bills as we welcome in the great Dan Coccimilgio. Danny, good to see you. How are you?
Yeah, great. Good to see you guys. You surviving the heat this week, or?
Oh man, it's been rough. It's been rough.
Man.
It's been one of the hottest weeks, easily the hottest week of the year.
I sent you guys a photo. I sent you guys a photo of myself drenched in sweat. I thought that I think I've gone a little bit like heat crazy. I spent 3 hours on YouTube trying to figure out different easy solutions to fixing the air conditioning. And my God, I started taking everything apart. I was sweating my ass off. It was like 87 degrees still at night. I was motivated. And then there was like this disgusting tank of yellowish green mucky water, and even a little bit of Ringo's hair was in there. And like I cleaned that out, I cleaned out the pipes, put in bleach. And then I thought that I did it. I sent in the group text. I was like, I think that I did it. Just not thinking at all that like, okay, it's late at night. This is the one time when it actually just is cold outside. And that's the reason why.
Bring the cool air coming in from the outside. Oh, man.
It's hot. It's hot for sure. Matthew Bassett says, "You guys are crushing it, bringing us content from inside the 49er locker room. Don't apologize for nothing." Yeah. Calba says,
that was a great interview. I was driving home. Right? Great interview with Brock Purdy. Yeah. I liked it. I like the fact, you know what I liked? It's not this short, tiny little blip you see on TV of a 30-second clip, a question and an answer. You get to know the guy a little better. I felt like listening to you guys and listening to Purdy's answers kind of got into his soul a little bit. You see the man inside there, and I think that's, Farhan probably would have cut him because he didn't fit the analytics. But his heart, man, that's a guy that is going to make it in this league, and he's going to be a long time in the league. And I believe at some point he'll be a starter. He could be, a much, much better version of Matt Flynn, who went from the Packers to the Seahawks and got beat out by Russell Wilson. But Purdy is not that type of guy. He's a guy that I don't know if he ever surpasses Trey here, but when his contract comes up, he's a guy that'll become an NFL starter at some point.
At worst, he's a great NFL backup.
Exactly.
At best, he's a borderline NFL starter. But
right.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something there. And what I loved about that interview was just how he admitted that his entire family carries the chip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I have a chip on my shoulder. Yeah, I think I'm pretty damn good. He didn't say that, but I'm just kind of, paraphrasing sort of. But then it was like, hey, and how about your family? Yeah, they wear that chip too. And that is cool. That is cool. That means they're all in on their brother and their son and their family member, and that's just very cool. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Matthew Bassett said he just subscribed. Yeah, Matthew, in fact, will be releasing a lot of these videos early to our subscribers and to our club members. So who are we gonna hear from next, Rye? Who do we got next on the docket?
I'm gonna go with Ebukam. We haven't done any of the interviews from yesterday or from 2 days ago yet, and those were a little shorter because we were rushed. But yeah, I really liked Ebukam, and then maybe have that lead into Jauan Jennings.
All right. Yeah, this is so we caught up with Samson Ebukam, very chill guy as well. He was sitting on his stool in front of his locker. And here's a little bit of the 49ers defensive end, the great Samson Ebukam.
You like everyone in the UK to be 49ers fans.
We're in the Niner locker.
Or here.
Got basketball. Who's the best pickup basketball player in this room?
Oh, Jauan Jennings. He's nice. Like everything that he like shooting, most likely he's gonna make it.
You do a ton of work in the weight room, and some of it comes out on social media. You're pretty dedicated to that. Does that go back to college? When did you start getting real serious in the weight room?
Definitely college, because I realized how much it helped me out with being on the field. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm undersized a little bit for my position, so I know I gotta make up for it in other aspects.
This wide 9 scheme almost seems ideally suited to your skills. You like to get up the field and really burn those edges.
Yeah, for sure. I get to do that, and it kind of helps me out because I created a little momentum before I make contact with the person in front of me.
What do you think of how have you been blocked any differently now that you got Armstead, you got Kinlaw, you got Bosa? You can't double everybody. Do you see yourself getting one-on-ones?
Yeah, definitely. But I said the same thing last year, and they were chipping on both sides. So you can never tell. But I feel like I'm gonna get definitely more of the one-on-one opportunities for sure. Yeah.
Guys are hitting big shots. We got a game going on. Hey, looking ahead to the Bears, what do the Bears look like offensively on film to you?
They look good. They look stout. They're big up front, and they got a quarterback that can hurt you both ways with his arm and his feet. So definitely got to be having a sound game, play physical up front, and just play fast and make less mistakes than they do.
You know, is it important against a mobile quarterback to have a kind of a coordinated rush, keep him hemmed in?
Yeah, definitely, because we know that we'd rather have him throw the ball than to run it, because there's only 4 of us up there, and everyone else is most of the time defending the routes. So we got to be able to box him in, keep him caged in, and get him down.
Hey, last one for you. You guys added Charvarius on the back end, and, man, that's a lot of talent you guys have on the defensive side of the ball. Have you noticed the difference since he came over to this defense so far?
Definitely. He adapted well. Like, he's in there locking things down. He was doing that all training camp, and I can't wait to see him out on the field because he's just going. He's one of those that can give us an extra hitch, you know. And because he's been doing that, the rest of the DBs also stepped up as well. E-Man's been locking things down, so we're gonna get that extra hitch to get the quarterback down in front.
Hey, last one. Do you have any personal goals for the season for yourself? Do you set personal goals?
Yeah, I got personal goals, but those are more to myself. And once I pass it, all I do is just thank God for it.
Good luck this year. Samson Ebukam.
The very last thing, if you could say.
Rod jumped in with the TalkSport commercial for Samson, and we got a nice little read out of him. So then we were talking to Samson. You saw Jennings. That was Jauan Jennings who hit the 3 ball. Let's just call it that. So then we walked over to Jennings. Nice. Do we have the Jennings?
Oh, we have
audio and video. So then I walked over to Jennings. Here we go.
I got a couple.
All right, so we asked Samson who's the best pickup basketball player in the room, and he said you.
Well, he ain't wrong. He telling 100% truth right there.
Damn. Who's second? Who's a close second?
Ooh, that one's hard. I would say my man Nate Sutterfield if he was still here, but Nate Sutt's not here no more, so I'm gonna have to go with Trey Lance.
I watched the huddle highlights.
Trey have game?
Pretty buttery.
Trey got some game on him, man. I got to give it to him.
A little bit of a slingshot, I feel like, looking shot. But
last one, give me your thought on your Vols.
Woo! 1-0 every week, baby. Every week, man. Everybody know what's up with them Vols, man.
Hey, back to you. Juwan, you know, okay, it's a.
Then I was going to go in for hey, would you read this commercial copy? And we decided to do it another time because the open locker room period ended there. But Juwan's a character, man.
Oh, yeah.
And Juwan's he's fun. He's fun. And you forget that You know, he ain't wrong. You know, he's got a nice game. I mean, he was that shot that Rye caught him hitting. He hit about 5 in a row like that. So
yeah. And if you hear me laughing, like, it's not necessarily like it's not me doing like the interview thing where you're like over laughing because out of awkwardness. It's like there's guys walking by me and like talking S and like, you know, talking S to Juwan, and you know, it's not caught by the mic, but it's pretty funny. The 2 days ago, that day when I was trying to get as much of the TalkSport commercial promos as possible, but I had it all scribbled. I came into the locker room carrying a backpack. I had a shoulder strap with a different camera. I audibled on the fly, realizing it was going to be too stressful to use the actual camera. So I used my phone, hooked up the wireless labs on that. And then I think it was Taylor Pepper.
Tabor Pepper saw Rye weighed down with a bunch of stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you want me to carry some of that? You want me to hold some of that?"
And I was just like, "Oh
funny.
my god, this is just that's I don't know if it's emasculating for me."
He didn't have much to do, just long snap, right?
Yeah, he's used to helping out. He's used to doing whatever needs to be done. Benji says y'all killed it with the questions, none of the boring stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
I had just this little tiny pad, and like I was like, oh my god, I got to scribble out the script for him. And the script they gave us was already kind of weird, and it was like weird grammar. And I scribbled it all out, and then everyone was just struggling to read it. So then the following day, I had a nice laminated.
There you go.
Situation.
Hey, Ryan, now that you're a member of the media, you got to take advantage. You may have some AC guys out there willing to help you.
Yes, seriously.
Yeah, what kind of AC is it? A swamp cooler? Or what are we talking about?
I just learned what a swamp cooler was today because I was thinking about going and getting one.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out.
I know some people have it. Just a big old thing of water.
Wouldn't be a show without eating, right?
Look at Danny. It wouldn't be a live stream without Danny munching.
Be a live stream. I got him. I don't eat when I'm doing it myself. Me and Romo, I couldn't eat. I need 3 guys to eat. So.
We're the ones who allow you to eat. All right, who's next? Who do we want to play next? What other interviews we got?
I mean,
in the
do you want to do McCrary-Ball? It's a little bit of a longer one, but man, he's awesome. He'll get you fired up.
Yeah, McCrary-Ball, you know, this is a personal favorite of mine, man. I love this kid. I mean, we both do. And I think he's really, really, his story's great. You know, he came clean with us about how he wasn't a serious student. And so he didn't get recruited, and he wound up at Indiana, and a lot of good stuff here. So here's Marcelino McCrary-Ball, who is, you know, fighting the good fight. Did he make the final 53? No, but he made the practice squad. And he's just super happy to be a 49er. And it wasn't accidental that he became a 49er. And he speaks with a lot of conviction. This is one of our personal favorites. Here's Marcelino McCrary-Ball.
Also, so you'll notice this is another one where it's really zoomed in because Trey was right directly the locker next to him, and he was, you know, doing his thing. So I really didn't want to get him. Also, what do you guys think of these little? I was trying to make some watermarks in case like these interviews got picked up. I don't know. I threw them together last minute, but okay, here we go.
All right, we're here in the Niner locker room with one of their practice squad linebackers, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, and you know, you didn't make the team, but you made the practice squad, and it's the beginning. How you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. Feeling very thankful for the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I didn't make the 53, but I still have the opportunity to remain here. Experience or be around great players, understand how it's supposed to be done, and then still have the opportunity, you know, if and when my name is called, I'm here to get on that field and dress up.
Yeah, I love the confidence, man. Now, I enjoyed watching you at Indiana. You played in the secondary. Now you're playing linebacker. How's the transition? How you making that transition? How do you feel about it?
Transition is good. I think like. You know, my speed and my ability to just run around and make tackles fits well for the linebacker position. And over the years, obviously, you know, we've seen like the linebacker position has changed a lot. It's not a lot of Ray Lewis type big players that's just downhill. You know, you got to be able to run sideline to sideline. So we're definitely seeing a lot of DBs turn linebackers. So I'm just a part of that group.
How's your support system felt about the fact that you made an NFL team and, your family, friends, you've probably been able to talk to them? What kinds of feedback, what are you hearing from them about the fact that you're in the NFL right now?
I mean, the obvious stuff, they're happy for me. It's a lot of people along the way that, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So that doesn't, pass my mind. And so in the position that I'm in, I just try not to take it for granted, and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, so I can honor those, even the guys that weren't able to make it, to the league, whether that's high school teammates, college teammates, and then honor, the parents, the family members that helped me get here to where I am.
You had this belief in yourself that really came across when you were on the podium, and I'm just kind of wondering where that comes from, because, a lot of confidence, and this is a deep, really talented linebacking core. You could have gone a number of different places, but you came here, and I'm kind of wondering why you came here, but also, was that part of your plan?
Yeah, no, that was definitely part of my plan. My plan was, from the get-go, I wanted to go to the best place. I didn't want to go somewhere where, obviously I want to be a part of the 53, but a big part of me was I didn't want to take, quote unquote, there's no team that's easy to make the 53.
Right.
But from my perspective, I was just I don't want to take the easy way. I don't want to go to a team where I'm not going to learn something. I know I feel like I can make any team, but I want to go to a team where they're the best. And okay, if I don't make that team, and I'm still around them, and I'm able to experience consistency and greatness, then I'm getting what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Beyond just making the team my first year.
Right.
Because I know sooner or later, I'm gonna be playing, this year, however it looks. But if in the beginning I have to take the back seat and watch Fred and Aziz and Greenlaw and all the other linebackers in the room and watch them, attack and hunt and understand how it's supposed to be done, and even as a collective, as a whole 11 on defense, then I'm gonna absorb that up, and when it's my time, I'm gonna know how to really do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was my main reason of coming to San Francisco. And I'm from Georgia, so I could have easily stayed on the East Coast. So it was all planned. I was F all that. I'm going to the best place. I don't care how far it is, what it look like. I want to go to the best place. So I want to know how I stack up with these guys, where I need to work on, what I can learn, et cetera, et cetera. So, and that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think you made a good decision, man. You challenged yourself, really. Yeah, you challenged yourself. What do you think of our weather?
It's good, man. Shoot.
It's pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah, so, during the summer when I was back in Georgia, it was dang, it's hot out here. I was training, long hoodies on, all this stuff, trying to just put myself in a perspective, if I can get through this in Georgia, with a hoodie on 100-degree weather, I can get through this out here. So the weather's good, man.
How'd you wind up in Indiana? If Georgia kid, there's G-Tech, there's the Dogs, there's a lot of good schools, there's a lot of talented, a lot of good talent in the state of Georgia. A lot of guys leave state, but why Indiana?
Yeah, so I'll be real. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do academically. Thankfully, Indiana gave me an opportunity still. But they gave me an opportunity. Even when I was messing up in school, they gave me an opportunity, and I was able to get to Indiana and be a part of a culture change. That's.
Were you a big talker in the locker room in Indiana? Because just hearing you talk, even at the podium, dude, you get me fired up. You get me kind of inspired. I'm we're kind of specifically. I'm 26. I'm hustling here. Trying to get a job in the media, and I'm damn, this guy's got it all together, and he's so thoughtful and stuff, man. So were you like that in Indiana? Were you kind of a locker room leader?
I guess you could say that. I guess a lot of my teammates will see me as that, as a leader, for sure. However, I just try to be intentional with my words, and I may be going on and on, but it's when we have a conversation that I'm passionate about, which is many conversations, like it's like I would try to continue to be intentional with my words, but it may just be a whole bunch. It may just keep rapping, keep going.
Dude, we love your whole vibe. Give us something about Georgia that you miss. Like now you're out here. Give us. Is there something that?
Family. That's why I live with my family. Everything else is cool.
You come from big family?
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean?
Well, it's all relative, right?
Yeah, I got a family. Yeah,
just a general family.
Right. So, but yeah,
just missing seeing them. What there, if you're in the practice squad, some other team can come and say, hey, we'll put you on the 53, or you could stay here all year. Right. You kind of already referenced that this is where you want to be. Yeah. How, if that moment comes for you and some team wants to pick you off, is it like no-brainer you got to go, or is it no-brainer, hey, you know what, I want to stay because I believe in Johnny and my position group and this organization. What how does that decision get made?
It's a difficult decision, and that's something I thought about during when I got cut and then I got put on a practice squad, like trying to explain to my family the situation, like, all right, I'm on practice squad here, but anybody at any moment can pick me up, all those different things, and that's where it kind of like it gets difficult because you have to make decisions and you try to think like, okay, I gotta get this bread, I gotta stack up, but at the same time you think like,
what's the best long term?
What's the best long term? And then you think like, all money's not good money. All these different things come into play. It's just like, I mean, I can't really answer that right now, like for real. Yeah. But I mean, I've thought about that, when the situation, when everything got real, as far as that cut day, everything got real, and I started understanding the situation at hand that may come forth.
Couple last ones. Go ahead, Ryan.
I have a buddy who he was a linebacker out of Utah, and he went undrafted, and he got signed. And I talked to him, and it's like, man, the guy's not that fast. He's not really like, he was never gonna even see snaps at linebacker. He's just a special teams guy. But I'm not gonna mention coach or whatever. But they basically told him like, man, you are such a good like influence on this locker room, and you're such a team guy and set such an example that he's played 6 years in the league now. Did they kind of tell you that at all? Like give you any indications like, look, man, performance is one thing, but if you're a great locker room guy, like you have a much better shot of sticking around.
Yeah. No, they never told me anything like that.
Don't have to.
I just like every day I really just, because of the situation I'm at, being a practice squad member, I just try to like go out there and get the best I can, for real. And that type of mindset, as far as being a locker room guy or being just a great teammate, it never like leaves my mind. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I can have a conversation with any of these guys at any moment. I feel like these guys do appreciate me, like Juice, like I feel like me and him real cool, and like from my perspective, it's like that's a 10-year vet. He cool, like he genuine with me, real genuine with me, and so I feel like I'm just naturally like, just being a locker room teammate, and then on the field, off the field teammate as best as I can be. So, awesome. I'm not trying to like turn into somebody I'm not. I'm remain who I am, and the flaws that I may have, and I see them, and somebody, that helps me notice that, I'll work on it. But the one thing, I'm not about to turn into somebody I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Hey, last one for you, and we really enjoy watching you this summer and rooting for you. You're in an awesome room, man. There's Aziz, who's incredible. Warner's incredible. Dre, all these guys really could be Pro Bowl. Really, yeah, sure. What do you give? The position better than me and Rye. Give me something that you see in each one of those guys that you're like, man. Because the one thing about you is that you're like, you got confidence. Like you can stand shoulder to shoulder with those guys. You can play with those guys. I can see it when you talk, and I've seen it in the film. But give me one thing or two things that you took from those guys this summer that you're like, man, I like that.
Yeah, they're Lions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously, starting with Fred, he the Mike linebacker, and Aziz and Dre to his left and his right, and that's the best way I can explain that Lions, because even when we're feeling great, first day out, everybody feeling great, they coming to smack something, and even when we're in the dog days of training camp. And you can compare that to, when Lions are kind of like scarred up and they battered, but they still gonna hunt. You know You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've seen pictures of lions that's like their face is scarred up, they're bleeding, all that stuff, but they still hunting. You know what I'm saying? So I compare them to lions for sure. Like, it don't matter if they feeling 100%, they feeling 10%. You're not gonna tell because they bring it every time. And like, that's the type of stuff that I came to learn about, like, and absorb, and then be able to like, be like, okay, I can do this too. Like, even on my worst days, like, I can still hunt too. And like, I'm just grateful for it, man. I'm grateful to be in that room for sure.
Yeah. Hey, good luck to you this year, man. We're big fans. Love the way you flew around in the preseason, and big fans, as we said. Hopefully, you make the squad.
That shirt though, man.
I know I'm not a Maryland guy. He's just a buddy with AD, but good luck to you this year, man.
Sir,
Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
There you go, Marcelino McCrary-Ball.
Were you wearing a Maryland shirt?
Yeah, I had the Maryland shirt on, and of course she's like, "Man, what is that?"
That's another Big Ten team, isn't it? Maryland, aren't they? In the
That's
Big Ten?
right. Yeah. That's right. So I was getting some grief in there. Guys were noticing, but Benji said, "Yeah, that's a great interview." And Tony D said, "See him hunt." I thought that line was great, man. He's like, "These guys are lions," and they start to describe, lions are scarred up and they're still out there hunting. And I mean, just painted a picture. That kid is special, man. And not only is he special as a player, he's a special guy. And I'm super thrilled he made the team, because he didn't make the team technically. He's a practice squad guy, and any team in the league could suffer an injury at linebacker, and they can come to him and say, "Hey, we'll put you on the roster." And if you get put on the roster, I think you get guaranteed. I think the minimum is probably like $90,000 or more, or whatever it is, a couple $100,000. So it's a big decision. Or do you stay here and stay on the practice squad, and you're making less, but you're in a good organization that's stable. You're in a group that
that's
the defense.
Where guys go down almost weekly.
Absolutely. It's a tough call, because you're there to, as he said, stack that paper, but at the same time, you want to put yourself in a good spot. It's like, do you want to work for a great company that you believe in long term and make a little bit less today and maybe have a little bit better future? Or do you take, the best offer in hand and jump to a team that's not as solid, where maybe you don't have as secure a future? It's a tough call, but I hope he stays, because he's a hell of a player. And a great personality.
Gets me so fired up.
Yeah, the number 1 draft pick in Trevor Lawrence and get the big money and go to a crappy team, or you want to be Trey Lance and come to the Niners? I'll bet you guarantee that if you ask Trevor Lawrence if he could flip positions with Trey, he'd probably say, "I'll take number 3 and build my career there."
You're probably right, Danny. Benji says it's clear that players are willing to engage with interviewers that don't have agendas. This same player would never open like this with the standard media members. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the compliment, and I appreciate you thinking that we're went above and beyond. I think it is, though, when you can get down on the player's level and kind of talk to them about their experience and what they're really experiencing, and what they're, and if you can listen to their answers and not just have these. Also, there's a lot of there's a big, the one thing I don't like about post game locker room is it always comes across like second guessing. Like, what happened out there? You lost the game. What happened? To me, that's not the time you want to interview the players. One, because, it's almost like asking somebody who's in a trench, how's the war going? I don't know. I'm in this trench. I don't know how the war's going. Yeah, go ask the general who's looking from above. So they're really down in it, and it's hard to sometimes get answers. And so they'll give pat answers like, "Hey, I got to watch the film." And it's not as much of a get lost as much as it is like, "Hey, I don't really know." You want answers. I really don't know. In this situation, we're talking to these guys during the week, during practice, and there's no game. And it's a more relaxed atmosphere, and you can dig a little deeper. That's all.
Yeah. And I was going to say, my whole thought, and, I'm coming to this with no experience, but the one thing I took away from working at the Adam Carolla show is just, that even the biggest celebrities are just people, and really, once you get to talk to them, and like they just want to be talked to, like they're, like they're just another person.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's playing the long game to just be a normal guy and ask like questions that are interesting and have these good conversations. It's like you're going to get people to open up more, and you're going to build some long-term trust that's going to be worth more than trying to, ask something that's salacious just to get, a bunch of clicks or a bunch of views today. It's just not.
And you're also asking questions that aren't being asked by everybody. All the reporters ask the same questions, about the play. So what do you think you could do done differently in that situation, or whatever? And it's like you hear it 20 times, and then you put guys. If you ask certain questions, you're going to have guys kind of backpedaling a little bit. They're going to be, you notice those guys. I mean, McCrary-Ball, he kind of said, "Hey, I'll be honest with you." He told about his studies,
Yeah, I mean, that's that's real. I mean, that's the other thing too. And Rise, 26, so he's right in their kind of wheelhouse age group. I've scouted before, so I just know. I've been in those locker rooms. I've talked to many players, guys who were on the verge of making the team and got cut, guys who walked away from the game because they wanted to do other things. And as Rise said, once you actually get to know the people, you realize. Everybody's the same, and it's all about relating.
Yeah, they're just regular guys,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not, and it's just they don't want to. It's a little bit less second guessing and a little bit more. Tell me your story. Everybody's got a story. Calba Kamiga donates $10. He says, "I love the questions, not of the same dreary types that the beat writers ask. Not ass kissing either. You definitely get inside their souls and see where their minds are and what drives them." I mean, that's the game plan. Try to relate. And you know what? The great part about it is I used to be, when I was working in the Canadian League, guys, I was the Turk. So I was the guy who literally had to go up to the guys who were getting cut and be like, "Hey, Coach Stevenson wants to see you, bring your playbook." And then they knew what that meant, right? They knew the dream was over. And then oftentimes we trained at Rancho we went to training camp in Yuba City. These guys all flew out of Sacramento. It was about a 30-minute drive. I would not just tell them they got cut. I'd go with them, get their stuff, help them, and bring them to the airport. And on the drive to the airport, man, it's a 30-minute drive, and you just me and the players, and some guys would just be super angry, some guys would be super frustrated, and then a lot of guys were like relieved, and they were always moving on to what they were doing next.
You ever have any of them get emotional?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
Danny, more times than not, they got emotional. They cried. They said that what they had coming up next in life, or, some of them have babies on the way, or I wanted to get married, and man, I was trying to make the team and make a little money and buy her that ring. And man, now I'm not going to have that. And I'm not, it's like, so it's a crossroads of a young person's life, and it's emotional and it's real.
I know that experience. I lived it in my own family. My brother Ron was just like McCrary-Ball. He was a free agent, Minnesota Vikings. He was all Pac-10 with Ronnie Lott and Kenny Easley that year, but he didn't get drafted. So he trained at Mankato back in the early 80s. He came out the same year Easley and Lott did in 81. And they played 6 preseason games back then. And he got through all 6. So he got the last cut, and it came down to were they going to carry an extra DB or an extra linebacker? And because they had drafted Jeff Seaman that year, they kept Seaman, and they didn't want to cut Paul Krause at the end of his career. But my brother, he said, "Hey, I know I can play in this league. I proved I can play in this league. I played 6 games, and frankly, he probably was better at that age at 22 than Paul Krause was at 37 or whatever he was. He was faster than Krause. He had more, he just had more knack for the ball. He was a free safety than Paul Krause, but you're not going to cut Paul Krause. it's just like the Giants and people are calling for Brandon Crawford. They're not going to cut Brandon Crawford next year. You don't cut your stars. You let them go out gracefully.
Yeah.
And so
there's so many stories of guys and how their opportunities, come and go. Kelch Chronicle says, absolute blessing and a privilege to be in a locker room chopping it up with these guys. Congrats to Ryan. If this is your first opportunity at doing these things, thank you all for providing this. Well, we appreciate that. Spencer Alsey says, all right, guys, it's bedtime for me. I got a big day tomorrow. It's my dad's celebration of life. This is going to be rough. Spencer, get through it. Get through it, my man. Get through it, and good luck to you. And have a good night's rest and rest up and have a great day. And as Calba has said here, sorry for your loss. Obviously, we didn't know him, but as somebody who lost his father within the last year or so, these are never easy days. But you know what? Somehow, some way, there'll be something inside that will give you the strength to get through it. So. All we can say is you're in our thoughts and prayers, and go get them tomorrow. Go get them. Rye, we got one or two more before we call it quits. We're about an hour and 10 minutes into our live stream. We've played a few of the interviews. So far, I like every one of them. Every one of them I've really enjoyed seeing the guys, and they were even better conversations than I actually remembered.
Yeah, Romo back in the chat said when you were at the ball interview, he says,
Jackson,
look at that neck. It's got the Mike Tyson sized neck.
Seriously.
That guy was,
he's yoked. He's yoked.
Yeah.
Jaguayo 56 donates $2. Jaguayo says, Krug, Brian, Danny, how are you gentlemen doing? We're doing great, Jaguayo. Hope you're having a phenomenal night. Thanks for checking in on the Krueg Show. What we're doing tonight is just kind of bringing you and others in our live chat, in our live stream, I should say, and all the people in the chat and all the people who are going to watch this. Just a little taste of what we've been doing this week down at Niner Camp, going to practice, going into the locker room, talking to the players, and we'll be doing this throughout the entire season. And I would imagine as we get to know the guys and they're a little bit more familiar with us, as the days and weeks go by, that we'll even get better content than what we're getting right now. But as you can tell, football players are pretty damn cool. They're easy to talk to. They're down to earth. It's a rough game played by rough guys, but there's a humility and a simplicity to the players that I really enjoy, and I hope you guys do as well. Who are we going to hear again? Who are we going to hear now, Rye?
One of my favorites, and this one, I apologize. My my phone ran out of battery on this one at the very end, and then we ended up
Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson. We ended up
Drake Jackson is one of my favorites too, man.
Oh, it's awesome.
Seriously, Drake Jackson's a dude.
He's a total dude.
He's a very cool guy, and I felt like I was talking to my son. You know what I mean? It's like, seriously, he's a young man, and my son's 20, and I think this kid is probably, what is Drake Jackson, 22, 23?
Yeah. You're around these guys, like you said, Larry, you get around these guys, like you said, they're just really cool guys, down to earth. I know a lot of NFL players, being around the Cal football program for many, many years. My brother's still coaching over there. When I went to an Arizona game down here when the Packers were in town. This was back in 2009, the year the Packers. They played the Cardinals the last game of the season. The next week, they were back in Arizona for one of the great playoff games of all time, that shootout that went overtime. And but that last week of the game, we had a pass. Aaron got us a pass for the in the family section after the game. And, you see all the family members down there and all the players are coming out. And you see the players walking out. And I've been in the Cal locker room. They're really just young guys. They're really young. A lot of these guys are just, 20 through 24. And they're big kids.
Drake, Calba says Drake turned 21 before the draft.
It's great.
So this one, Romo 2001. Your interview is going to be more midweek instead of post, as you stated, Larry. I think you may get more engaging interviews a few days after the game. Well, we'll see. We're going to be down there on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those are typically the media days. What else we got here? Val Ramos says, Dan is the man. I'm just out of the blue. Disgruntled Bears fan, don't you make sure you have a full battery before interviewing? Oh, look at that. Bear fan already getting salty.
Why don't
you worry about the Bears?
The Bears,
right?
Yeah. The Bears are who we thought they were.
I think you got enough on your plate, Bears fan, and I can understand the disgruntledness. Now, we ran out of juice, as they say. You like the juice? Yeah. All right, here we go. Little Drake Jackson. Are we going to hear the whole interview and just part of it?
This is the caveat, and this is how cool Drake Jackson is that I told him at the beginning, I was like, I've only got 4% battery. This is going to be
let's go.
Yeah. So we do the interview. Eventually it goes off, and Clint, the PR guy, is like kind of motioning, like, all right, guys, like, come on, you're the last ones in the locker room with him, like, got to go. And Drake just kept going. And I have it recorded on my, I have it on the backup recorder, the great audio. So I'll put that together and put it up on the YouTube channel sometime tomorrow. But he continued to talk to us. And then even after that was done, he was I was making small chat with him, talking, I said my sister was at USC playing volleyball at the same exact time. And he was just like telling me like how fired up he is. And we were relating. I was like, man, this is crazy for me too. Like I'm, 26, first time in the locker room. He's like, oh man, I'll be seeing you. So great guy. And here we go.
Did you ask him to do a backflip for you?
We should have. We should have. We probably would have did it. All right, here's Drake Jackson in Niner locker room.
Let's go back to draft day. You get drafted. The whole room's packed with your family. Put your hands over your eyes. What's going through your mind at that point when you hear your name?
Man, everything that I just done in life pretty much is coming true. I literally haven't done anything else but football in my life. So, it's kind of like it's finally happening, you know. And it was probably one of the biggest days of my life so far. I can't say anything's coming up yet, but it's probably one of the best days of my life.
What's it? Did you know the Niners were interested before the draft?
I did, actually. I took 17 30 visits, and 49ers were one of them. And, I talked to Coach Chris Kaczmarek before, everything went down. And, he was like, man, if you're able to, make it down to our pick, we're going to try to get you. So I'm like, man, that's just from him saying that, I knew they had like a deep pick. So I wasn't, I wasn't really not focused on them. But, I just kind of was just going through it. I know.
I'm sorry. Is the volume okay? Can you? Is it really really low?
It's really low. Is there a way we can pump up the volume a little higher?
Yeah. You know what? Here, give me. Has this not been a problem on any of the other interviews?
No, the others were fine.
The others were a little higher than this one. This one's definitely a little on the low side.
It's because I wasn't able to put the new audio in. Like there is a version that's really loud that we'll release tomorrow, but this is the best we got for now. Sorry guys.
A lot of teams said that. So, I was really waiting on those teams. But once we got to the 49ers, they were true to their word, and they actually got me. So it's pretty crazy because my grandma, she's been telling me that I'll go to her team since I was 12.
Really?
Yeah.
That's her team, Niners?
Yeah, it's our team.
Very sweet. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I got to ask you about Krueger Show. I mean, he's screaming, he's yelling, he's pounding the ground, he's throwing his hat, he's all in, man. What's it like playing for a guy like that?
I mean, once you got a coach that's all in, the players are going to be right with him. And I'm right with him because I like that stuff, man. Yeah. He had me fired up during practice, during meetings, during whenever. Whenever he talks to me, he gets me fired up. And, having a coach like that, you want to do good things for them because they only want good things from us. So, I just go out there and try to give back. For him, picking me up and for the organization picking me up. So,
Bears this weekend. One of the guys I'm a big fan of on their team is Velus Jones, and he started at SC and then went to Tennessee. You guys going to connect this weekend at all?
Oh, of course, man. I actually just heard that he had like a little hamstring thing going on, so I hope he can. Shake that off before game because I know he's really excited for this as well. I mean, everybody that, has made it from SC or so, we've talked about this type of thing or, we've all been dreaming of this type of thing. So, I hope he's able to get out there, but for sure, going to connect with my guy, man. Got to. Yeah. You have to.
Yeah. There's a lot of good defensive ends here, and you're one of them. But Bosa's obviously top, he's the top dog and has been. He's a special guy. What can you learn from a guy? I mean, you're a sponge, I would imagine, at this point, trying to learn as much as you can. When you see him, what he's doing and everything, his feet and everything tied together, what do you learn from him? I mean, probably just an endless number of things.
I ain't gonna lie, endless number of things, just from how to line up to how to work my moves on the guys that I'm going against. And, even though Bosa's different, I would say that I'm athletic enough and to a point to where I can be that, or not that, but something like that. And, with him on my side, it's like I get like a speed book through it, he's right with me all the time. So I get to, literally see it for myself. And I'm a big, imaginative guy. So the way I see it is if I can see it, I see him doing it and it works, I can take that and put it in my game some type of way and make it work for me. So, it's literally almost it's a cheat code almost. And it's pretty funny because on Instagram, I had seen somebody had commented, and they're like, "That's the last Bosa brother." I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "What the heck?" I was like, "Damn, that's pretty crazy." But just to be recognized as something, who could be a part of what they got going on is pretty tight, But I still got a lot ahead of me, a lot to work on, a lot to get down before it's all smooth for me. So I just like to stack a day every day. And,
SC had a ton of talent, but the room that you're in now is maybe the most talented D-line room in the league. And this guy right here, Kinlaw, is just a monster. Yeah, he's just crazy. That Minnesota game, the sack, the practice where he bulldozed the guy in practice. I mean, give me your thoughts of watching Jauan do his thing, because he just seems like a totally different level.
He's a mutant. You ever seen X-Men?
Yeah.
I don't know how he made it out of there, but he's from one of those. He wasn't born normal. He's literally a different breed of one of one. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that big move like that. So, it's pretty crazy getting to play with him, and it'll suck being an old lineman going against that for real, because he is literally something else.
Last one for you, and then Rye may have one for you. But okay, so let's fast forward to Sunday. We don't know if you'll be up or not.
Oh, dang.
All right, Drake Jackson with us.
Sorry, guys. That's when it cut off.
Oh, that's where it cut.
Well,
but what'd you think of Danny? I mean, great dude, huh?
Yeah. I thought really, really good. As I'm watching this, and I'm listening to this, and we saw what's Stephon Diggs' brother, the DB for Dallas first?
Trevon Diggs.
Yeah. What did he have? 12, 13 INTs last year as a rookie, or the first as a rookie?
He had a bunch. I don't know if it was that many.
He had double digits. I know that. He
might have been 11.
Okay. I'm going to go out in our bold predictions that we made. I think Dre Jackson gets 10 sacks or more this year, because I think the attention's going to be on Bosa a lot, and I think Dre's going to get free, and I think the fact that he believes that he has the ability to do what Bosa does, just watch this kid. This kid's he's gonna get to the quarterback, and then it's going to start being like, oh, dang. This is the D Ford that we wanted, the last 3 years.
Yeah, no question. Tony D says Drake's easy to root for. I'm really hoping he makes an impact this season. It's funny, you get to know these guys a little bit and talk to them, and you do start rooting for certain guys, and he definitely is a guy that I'll be rooting for. Val Ramos says that was cool, guys. Yeah, Drake is. He's good, man. Obviously he's a talented player, and we talked all about how he's got crazy ankles, and he can get parallel to the ground, and he can flatten to the quarterback like very few guys. And I just thought it was really cool that he's a first-year player. And he's sitting in a room with Nick Bosa, who's literally an instructional video on how to rush the quarterback. And he's like, I can do that. I can be like him. I don't know if I can be exactly like him, but I can be in that, he kind of said it, like I can be in that category. And that's great, man. They got one right there with Drake Jackson, guys. I mean, that was a first round pick that fell to the second round. That was a nice one.
He's I think what people may not realize, the fact that Bosa's unbelievable, and he's got that bull rush, and he's got great moves. Jackson is probably the most athletic. I'll go as far as to say he's probably the most athletic guy they have on defense. That's how freaky. This guy's a freak. Once he gets it down and gets the discipline down and gets everything, and his body gets completely right, this guy's what is he? 6'3", 275?
Bosa?
No, Drake Jackson.
Oh yeah, he played. He told us the other day after practice that he weighs 260 right now currently.
Okay, but the guy can. He does these backflips like he's in gymnastics, and he's fast. And the thing that I like about him is he's got an incredible bend for, his body can contort, and he can, at that defensive end position, he can get around the edge. He can get knocked down, and he still stays up. And
he's an upgrade on Arden Key and that NASCAR package. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you can rush him inside, you can rush him outside, you can stun him, you can, the Niners like to play games up front. I'll tell you, that is one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing. The Bears are down 2 offensive linemen from last year. And they got a lot of young players up front, and you got some guys in different positions that haven't played a whole lot. Tevin Jenkins failed to tackle. He's playing right guard. They lost Corbett. They lost quite a bit. On that offensive line, I think the Niners are going to play games up front and make these guys show that their communication is sound. And I think that's probably the best way to rush Fields anyway. So I'm looking for the Niners to play a lot of stunts. A lot of games up front to try to confuse Justin Fields and try to keep him hemmed in.
And, the thing going back to Drake and with Kucherk, the coach, he's got the best defensive line coach in the league, and he's got the energy, and he loves to be coached that way. When you love to be coached that way, you're going to get better. And what's going to be, I think the Niners have a healthy D Ford on their team. I think he's going to turn into that type of player because he's got similar body to D Ford, and he's powerful. I think he's got a better, I
thought they were similar, but then, it's pretty clear that Jackson's bigger. Yeah, he's bigger. He's stronger.
But he's got the quickness. He's got
a great first step.
But did you see what game was that? Was it Green Bay, or was it, I think it was Green Bay, the bull rush? He just pushed a guy off. I can't remember. One of the preseason games, he did the bull rush, and he just pushed the guy straight back into the backfield. I think he got the sack. Trying to remember which game it was, but he does have power.
They're so deep. Ebukam, you obviously got Bosa, you got Drake, you got Wilkins. You got a bunch of different guys. Who can man the edges. They Jordan Willis. They got guys.
Willis.
Jordan Willis.
Yeah, it's great that he's back. Willis,
Jordan Willis, a good ball player, and Kerry Hyder. They just got a bunch of guys. Charles Amenahue.
How many do you think they'll carry on the game day? Is it 47 they can suit up?
I think 48 on game day.
48? How 48. Many D-line? They have, 10 on the roster? You think they'll carry?
They've got, I think, 9? 11. I think 11 on the roster right now. I think there probably will be
9 or 10.
I would say no more than 9. Mm-hmm. No more than 9. That would be my guess.
Hey guys, sorry for going quiet here. Let me know if you can hear this, because I just pumped up the rest of the Drake Jackson interview. Let me know if you can hear it.
Something else.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, that was better.
We could hear it.
Last one for you, and then Rye may have one for you. But okay, so we'll fast forward to Sunday. We don't know if you'll be up or not, probably, but let's say you are. You're standing on the sideline at Soldier Field in Chicago. They're playing the anthem. You're standing around. Are you going to be thinking about your assignments? Or are you going to be thinking about, man, taking it in, going, I made it in the NFL. It's opening day. I'm standing here in Chicago on the sidelines wearing the Niner colors. What's that moment going to be like for you?
I mean, I already got 3 games under my belt, so, I kind of just think of it as one of those, even though, it is preseason, it's still a game,
It's a little off.
That's all right. Jaguayo 56 donates $2. He says Krueg Drake is taking the Bosa masterclass. It's well said. That's well said.
Well, we'll just see that relay. I'll have that fixed up and into a video, and it'll all be good.
Okay. Do we have any more that we want to play here, or do we have?
I think the last 2 that we have Juice, and we have Greenlaw.
Yeah, Greenlaw was taking a big old lipper. I mean, when we walked over, he's got the fat Copenhagen going. At least I thought it was Copenhagen. What he said it was?
I think he said it was Grizzly.
Grizzly. It's Grizzly. I said, hey, you got a little Copy going? Here we go.
No doubt. We do the Niner pre-post in London for you guys. I wonder if we could do a couple minutes with you. Yeah, for sure. All right, sorry, I got a hit, man. Yeah, no problem.
I've got one in the upper.
Okay.
Little Grizzly.
All right. Okay. We're here in the Niner locker room with Niner linebacker Dre Greenlaw. How's summer going for you this year?
It's going good, man. Great off season so far.
Well, you get the Bears week 1. Is week 1 any different than any other game, or is it just same as usual?
I mean, it's a little different just because it's the first game, so you never know what a lot of teams are going to do. Going to be a lot of surprises, but for the most part, I mean, it's just like any other game. As far as execution, as far as your keys and your reads, you just go out there and play fast and execute.
This is maybe the NFL's fastest linebacking core with yourself and Azeez and Fred. A guy like Justin Fields, containing him, that's obviously a huge task this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I mean, he's a guy that can run them and the running back. So it's going to be a good task for us. And, I mean, as a defense, we just got to just make sure that we're on our keys and playing fast. And when it's time to go get them, go get them.
How are you a different player than you were when you were coming out of Arkansas? You've been in the league a few years now.
Just a lot more experience as far as understanding the defense. In Arkansas, I was in a bunch of different defenses. So to be able to be in the defense for 4 years, it just helps your knowledge of the game, helps understanding and knowing where you're supposed to be. And once you didn't see, what the NFL is like and what a lot of teams like to do, once you got that experience of playing, it kind of just you kind of know what to expect a little bit. So it gives you it helps a lot.
Hey Dre,
what's your process?
I've got one for
go ahead.
for Dre. I've noticed in the Shanahan era, turnovers are a bit of luck, but never had more than 12 interceptions in the Shanahan era. Are you guys expecting some more turnovers this year?
That was a big key for us this whole off season. Just going to go get the ball. That was something we struggled with in the years past and last year. So that's been our emphasis, and we've been doing a great job this offseason of going to go get it. So I'm excited to see the secondary work, and I'm excited to see the linebackers go make big plays.
What is the key as far as when the week getting ready for a team like the Bears? What's the key process for you? You want to watch the cut-up film? You want to watch the all-22? What do you need to see to get ready for Sunday?
Really just, the way they play, just the physicality, the speed. The preseason games are big. Watching them just because they're going to let a lot of the starters play just because them being young. But just watching the way they operate, for me, it's just watching the quarterback mannerisms, the running back mannerisms, and just being detailed on my assignments.
Hey, last one I got for you. Juwan looked incredible in the preseason. Obviously, that front is an impressive front. Give me your thoughts on watching him doing what he's doing up front. He looks like he's taking it to a different level this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play. I know he had a down year last year, but, this whole offseason he's been itching just to get on the grass. So to see him play in that preseason game and see him finally let it loose was good. I'm excited to see him run around, man. He's a big dude, and he wants to play ball. So I can't wait to see it.
Good luck, Dre.
Yeah. And Dre, you know what? Last thing, if you would really help us. The classic. He was also like our second interview.
Ryan, the salesman.
Ryan's coming in. Ashley Keating says, "Hi guys, just got out of surgery today. Appreciate all the content. These locker room interviews are cool. We didn't get these last year, so Ashley, hopefully whatever surgery you had went well." And there's a lot of people in the chat saying exactly the same thing. Val Ramos says, "Ashley, get well." Eric Gomes says, "Ashley, all the best on a speedy recovery." And then Mark Graves says, "Ashley, hope you're feeling better, praying for a speedy recovery." And then we got this one from Clean Industry. Says, "Do the Niners re-sign Dre?" is the question. Man, Greenlaw is one of my favorite players. I mean, Shanahan compares him to Mike Tyson. Yeah. And he looks a little bit facially like Mike Tyson, like a young Mike Tyson. But what I just love about him is, he's so fast, so athletic, so dominating, really. And when he's playing at a top level, man, there's very few backers in the game that are any better than Dre Greenlaw. He's the real deal, guys.
Oh yeah, that's why if these guys stay healthy, I said it earlier, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. If this 49er defense stays healthy, I'm putting them up there with the Tampa Bay, what was that, 2001 team? What year?
2002. I don't know about that, Danny. Those teams were dominant.
I know. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I see. You got the corners, you got Ward, and who was it that we heard say about the corners of the 49ers? They said. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank again. What the other corner that for the Niners?
Charvarius Ward?
No, not Ward, but
Emmanuel Mosley.
Yeah, Mosley. Thank you. They said Mosley is maybe the best cover guy, might be one of the top cover guys in the league. And they said, who was it that was saying that? Was it Richard Sherman or who was it?
Don't know. But I'll say this. When you look at Charvarius, E-Man, and then you got Womack, and you got a healthy Jimmy Ward, let's say at some point, and a healthy Hufanga. It's pretty good. That's a pretty good secondary right there.
I know that Tampa Bay 2002 team was unbelievable with John Lynch, and they had on the
Simeon
line
Rice, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks.
Yeah, they had all those guys. But you look at the speed of the 49ers linebackers, Al Sayers and Warner and Dre Greenlaw, and then that defensive line, that front. If they all stay healthy and play together, you're going to see, like you said, Rye, 12 turnovers is the highest in the Shanahan area. You could see 20 this year.
Oh, I think that we are going to see 20. Also, I don't know if I made this prediction on the Gridiron podcast, just fooling around a little bit, but I've already said I think Bosa is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to end up being in the MVP discussion, because if the Niners truly, I'm not high on anybody in the NFC. If the Niners, and look at the Rams, if the Niners are the 1 seed and they're kind of dominating everyone and they're led by their defense, the best teams always have somebody in the MVP discussion. And, I think if Bosa could break the sack record, come close.
We didn't really talk too much about, I know you guys I came in late, but hasn't been a whole lot said about the Rams last night. They got their butts kicked.
That was McVay's first loss in a opening game, and first time he didn't score 30 points.
They lost Whitworth, Andrew Whitworth at tackle, and they lost Corbett at guard, and they just gave up 7 sacks and 15 hits on the quarterback. I got the Rams missing the playoffs.
I know you do, and I think you said that, and I think, like you said, they've got 6, 7, really top guys, and then they're kind of, I think they're paper thin after that.
No, you're right. They are. And it just a normal amount of injuries this year might take them out of it. And I know that's crazy because everybody looks at that. They were in the Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl hangover, what it really took to get it done, how healthy they had to be to get it done, I don't see that happening again. I think they'll suffer a normal amount of injuries, and that will probably take them out of it.
Yeah, a lot of talk today And, late last night in the media and today about Allen Robinson, not getting any real, Stafford only went to him twice, and one of them was the last play of the game. It was just throwing it up there in the end zone corner. What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that you can. It's not a video game. You're not playing Madden. When you take a receiver and you put him into a new team, he's got to work. He's got no reps at all with Stafford, and now it's time for the quarterback and the receivers to get on the same page, and it takes time. And it's not one of those. You just step in. That's why rookie receivers so infrequently dominate, because new receivers struggle. I expect Devontae Adams potentially to struggle a little bit with Derek Carr. It takes a while, and it takes a number of reps before quarterbacks and receivers get on the same page. And it may take Robinson half the year before Stafford and him are in lockstep. And at that point, who knows? Maybe Stafford suffers an injury and they don't, so all the people just expecting, and I was one of them. I was one of them saying, you know what? Allen Robinson's going to be a great fantasy player. But as it got close to the draft, I'm like, you know what? That may want to be one of these fallacies. Like, it looks good. It's almost too good on paper, too good to be true. It probably is a little too good to be true. Let's hear from Juszczyk. And then we got to get rolling here.
Real quick, Larry, speaking of fantasy, did the Giants put out a little thing in their media with their ball players, their draft? And Jock Peterson with the third pick took your guy, Johnny Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. There you go.
Yeah, so you got you're in good company.
I had the fifth pick. I got him with the fifth pick overall.
Yeah, he took him at the third. So I thought, there's a lot of talk this year saying the wide receivers may be better going with the receivers than some of the backs.
Yeah, no, I think that's there's a lot of truth in that. Here's a little bit from Kyle Juszczyk, caught up with the Niner fullback, who at this point is a 6-time Pro Bowler, one of the best fullbacks in the game, Kyle Juszczyk.
And yeah, this was our first interview, I think, and the whole first beginning of this is just me trying to show him what to say on my little pad, and then so I'll just start it here.
The San Francisco 49ers. Oh, and then this is like, you can add anything if you want, or you don't have to, or like how many years you played.
I was going to say, I'm going into my 10th year.
Okay.
All we really need is a tag. So just like, this Kyle Juszczyk of the 49ers, and you're listening to Talk Sport, right?
I don't know. That's just what
Hold
they
this
gave us.
one. I'm going to say the beginning, and then
Sweet.
Hey, this is Kyle Juszczyk, fullback for the San Francisco 49ers, getting ready to go into week 1 of my 10th year in the NFL. Now hold it up there. There you go. Don't forget, you can listen to the 49ers Talks. What is it? Talk Sports?
On Talk Sport.
Don't forget, you can listen to the 49ers on Talk Sports.
Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Yeah. In London.
Don't forget, you can listen to the 49ers on Talk Sport in London.
Perfect.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Hey, got some
can
editing
we get
there.
do a couple minutes with you for the pre?
Yes. As long as I can get ready.
Sure, absolutely. No problem. How's camp gone for you so far?
It's been really good. Camp has been really solid. I feel like we built a foundation, ready to go for week 1, and happy to get into some game plan stuff.
What are the Bears looking like on film? You've had a chance at this point to watch a lot of their defense. How's it look?
They look solid. They got a lot of really good players over there. A guy like Robert Quinn, who had over 18 sacks last year. Roquan Smith really can fly around and make plays around the entire field. And we feel like they have a really strong secondary all across the board. So we're not taking anybody lightly.
How's your offense looked to you? This new quarterback, some new players. How's it look this summer to you?
I think it's looked really good. I think Trey adds a little extra element of being able to do things on his feet. He's a great athlete. He's got a big arm. So I think he's going to add a little extra dimension to our offense this year.
Is week 1 any different than the regular from any other weeks in the regular season?
It is a little bit, especially for us going against new coordinators. You really don't know until you see it. And so, we can look at places that they've coached before, what they were doing in the preseason, and get an idea, but you really don't know what they're going to present until you see it on Sunday.
What do you think of the schedule where you guys had almost 3 weeks between the last preseason game and week 1? A little different this year.
Yeah, definitely a little different there. There's kind of an awkward space in there where, you're still kind of in preseason mode or you're getting ready for the season. But I feel like we handled it really well. We still had some productive practices, got a little bit better, and stayed healthy in the process. So we're feeling good right now.
Last one for you. You're a 6-time Pro Bowler. You've been in the league a long time. How are you a different player than you were when you were coming out of Harvard?
Oh man, it is night and day. I'm a completely different player. I'm 30 pounds lighter than I was my rookie year, and I have just a totally different knowledge of the game, and I approach things differently than I did back when I was a young cat out of Harvard.
Good luck this season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Cal.
Dude, solid dude. And it is interesting how he came into the league and he was quite a bit bigger and was bulkier, and now he's kind of he come to the Niners, he's leaned out. I heard him talk a few weeks ago about how he spends the offseason playing as many different sports as possible to try to give him kind of a strengthen different muscles in his legs and his body. And so he plays tennis and he plays different racquetball and a bunch of different sports to try to almost kind of strengthen his body in different ways. And so it's not the same thing over and over again. He's trying to strengthen all the little muscles that are in your knees and ankles and joints, that help you with your balance and everything. And I thought it was interesting, just the fact that, he's kind of looking at it from a different perspective. It's not just, hey, I run on the treadmill and I lift weights and I've got this routine. It's like, I like to try a bunch of different sports to try to challenge my body and, make myself kind of contort my body in different ways. And he feels like it helps him prep for the season. So interesting player, valuable player. A lot of people were very critical when the 49ers paid him big money as a free agent a few years ago. And he's been very, very solid across the board. I mean, he makes a lot of money.
Early when they weren't really a competitive team. Now you could see the payoff of that they become a perennial Super Bowl contender. When he first came over, it was Kyle's first year in 17, I think. Did he come over?
Yeah, and they paid him a lot of guaranteed money, and a lot of people were like, "Wow, you're paying a lot of guaranteed money to a guy that doesn't really, touch the football that much. Is it worth it?" But in this offense, he's a jack of all trades. They'll direct snap it to him.
They had a plan.
They had a plan. They utilized him in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and in when it comes down to it, he was the key piece of that puzzle to get him. And they built the whole entire offense around what he can do with the blocking.
Yeah, he can play one back. He can play fullback in a 2-back set. He can play tight end. I mean, you can use him. You can flex him out as a wide receiver. He's really smart. Yeah. That's the Harvard background.
Who else could be in that position that you could see be
Ross Dwelly?
Ross Dwelly? Yeah. Well, he did do it
especially
a little
with
bit
Kittle
when
out. I think I could see them using Juszczyk at tight end with Kittle out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Kittle's a shame because heard him on a podcast with Richard Sherman. I think it was earlier in the week. He said, "How's the body?" He says, "I feel great, better than I felt in." And then the next day, bang.
Jaguayo 56 donates $2. Says Krueg over under 150 rush yards. For the Giants or for the Niners, Pasquale.
There'll be a lot of running in the rain.
I mean, for the whole team, it's definitely. I think
it's over.
It's
got to be over because they're not going to throw the ball that much in the rain if it's raining heavy.
Is rain? I always mix it up. What's the one that affects it? Like snow is actually not that bad or something, but then
for what?
In terms of like. Passing offense and how people have to change their offense. Snow, unless it's a horrible storm with wind.
Well, it depends. Wind will eliminate passing.
Wind will eliminate.
So that's the big one. By the way, here's a little Pasquale.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Here you go, Jaguar. We grew up with the Sunday dinner. I mean, if you see, if you're ever looking, trying to decide, do I bet on this game? Do I take the under? If it's really windy, that will eliminate all passing.
Take the over on turnovers.
If it's raining, I expect the Niners and the Bears to run the hell out of the football. Both teams are going to run, I would say, should run at least 55 to 60% of the snaps. And now with the weather, being rainy, now it is summertime rain, and the turf should be in great shape. So I don't think it will. I don't think it will change too much, but it depends. It's Chicago, and you're right there. Soldier Field is right there on Lake Michigan, and the wind can come. In the wintertime, it just comes absolutely pouring off the lake, and it's just nightmarish. Yeah. This time of the year, who knows what it could be, but you're still dealing with, a lakefront stadium with the potential for wind, and wind and rain would make it, it'll be warm, but if it's windy, obviously that's going to impact the game.
Hey,
the
a good bet for with your MyBookie app might be turnovers, over under on the turnovers. Take the over if it's heavy rain in forecast, because that game they had in Baltimore a couple years back, it was just that
game was insane.
Was it 9-0 or something like that, or no? It wasn't Baltimore. Where was that? Was it?
It was Baltimore.
Was it Baltimore? Okay. Yeah. Was it not like a 9-0 game or something like that, but it was like turnovers galore.
Eric says Mitchell can have a big game. I expect Mitchell to have a big game. For sure. Guys, it's 11 o'clock. We've been going for almost 2 hours. We got 131 people in the chat, but we're going to call it quits right here. We've got our taping tomorrow morning for our pregame for Talk Sports out of London, coming up at 9 a.m. So I need to edit a couple sound bites, I guess, going for that. Ashley says, I don't know if you guys have touched on this earlier, but in the locker room, is everyone is friends, or is it more just work? Do the offensive and defensive players interact? Heard on some teams they kind of stay separate. On this team, they definitely mix them. You saw Marcelino McCrary-Ball, in the locker next to him was Trey Lance, or maybe two down was Trey Lance. So yeah, they mix it up. They mix it up for sure. And it changes every year. So, and every coach has a different philosophy on that. The 49ers, I think, try to blend their whole team together. And that's what you see. Now, you'll see some position groups where there's a few O linemen together, a few D linemen together. But for the most part, they mix it up, I think, Eric Armstead's locker was like right next to Juice's locker and really close. So, I mean,
you heard McCrary-Ball say, it seemed like he was the happiest about Juszczyk, being nice to him and ways with them. And
as you get to get used to these guys and really get after several weeks, and you really they get to know you pretty well. I want you to go in, Larry, and ask one of these guys, "Hey,
I say, Larry, you say
no." We say,
hey,
I was coaching.
Hey, who wants some completes?
Yeah.
Drop one of those.
I want you to go in there and say, hey, what's the worst thing a football coach has ever told you? When I was in the coaching, when I was coming up, I had one of my coaches say, Larry, you're lazy.
You're lazy. Larry, you think you work hard? You don't work hard. You're lazy.
Oh, that's a good call.
Any coach ever told you that? You're lazy.
What does Wayne say? He says, it was Washington when we went to the bowl. We won 9-0
right.
in the rain.
Think it was Baltimore. It was Washington. It was
9-0. Bosa and the boys sliding in the rain.
Yeah. Back when they weren't the Commodores, or what are they called again?
The Commanders.
Commanders. Okay,
the Commodores.
I got a little bit of Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie. Right, say you, say me. All right. All right. Good stuff. Hey, Ryan, excellent job this week on those interviews. And you know what? You handled yourself well. It was the first week in a pro locker room. I told Ryan, just follow my lead. Just follow my lead. And overall, I think it went well. And I hope all of the people in the chat really enjoy a lot of the audio. We'll be bringing that to you. And yeah, we will be bringing it to you day of, when we start doing it in the weeks ahead. So we won't always save it till Friday. It's just circumstantial this week that we did it that way. But we'll be bringing this to you on Thursdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. And we might, do just one live stream, maybe Thursday after practice. And work it all in there, but a lot of great stuff. And you can send us what questions you would like to have us ask, and you can hit me on Twitter. You can hit any of us up on Twitter, and just send you what questions you want us to ask, and we'll ask them. Simple as that.
Absolutely, we will.
Tony D says, just follow the old vet, Mr. Krueger. Love it, fellas. Thanks. Yep, Tony. That was my message to Rye. Just follow me.
Last thought. I mean, that's another.
Get on my back, Ryan. Follow me.
Don't be so lazy. Don't be lazy.
I'm relating to guys like Drake Jackson and McCrary-Ball when they're saying, like, I'm like, you know what? Larry's my Bosa. I'm just following him, and I'm hoping that he gets all the attention, and then I can come in every once in a while and get a sack. So
can't double team everybody, right? Can't double team everybody. All right, good stuff, Danny. Good to see you. How did the Giants live stream go? Sorry to the Giants fans.
We had Romo on the last 2 days, and we had some fun. Today was a little fun. Robert Rothberg said that I need to be a little more biased when I talk about the Giants. So I said, okay, we were doing live. So I said, okay, the 8th and 9th inning is going to be biased Giants announcing. And so we just come up, and here comes the great Austin Dean up, a future Hall of Famer at age 32, making his big league debut. Everything was positive, Oh, yeah, they're going to go get him. Yes, he's only hitting .211, but his grandpa's in the Hall of Fame, and he won. They will be too.
Yaz is hitting .220, but he's coming back in 2023.
Yeah. So we just had some fun with that. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We'll be with you after Niners Bears. We'll do another live stream after the Niners and Bears on Sunday, probably around 2:00 in the afternoon. So look for that. We're beating the heat. Hope all of you are as well. Have a great night. Thanks for listening to the Krueg Show. For Danny and Rye, I'm Larry Krueger. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back.